Nobody listened, and by 2019 a series of hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, and droughts caused destruction all over the planet. After losing several cities, world leaders came together led by the US, and they found a way to neutralize the storms with a net of thousands of satellites, each deploying countermeasures designed to impact the basic elements of weather. This net of satellites was known as Dutch Boy and was designed by chief architect Jake. For now it was a US-owned operation, but in 3 years the Dutch Boy would be transferred to an international council. One day, Jake is called to a disciplinary hearing with the US Senate subcommittee because he punched a federal inspector and brought Dutch Boy online without authorization. Jake doesn't accept the scolding and meets their words with sass, ignoring the texts from his brother Max asking him to stop. Jake explains he punched the officer because he wouldn't stop touching machine parts that almost killed him, and that he activated the Dutch Boy to stop a series of storms that would have killed thousands of people. The Senate doesn't care, they just want Jake to be obedient, so they decide they'll send new staff to the station to keep an eye on things and that Jake will have to fire some of the old team members. After the meeting is over, Jake bumps into Max, who works under the US Secretary of State. Max has been chosen to be in charge of Dutch Boy, and he's decided to fire Jake because he thinks that's the best thing for the project. Jake is devastated to learn his brother can do this to his family and doesn't speak to him again. 3 years later, a UN team stationed in Afghanistan gets some weird readings on their scanners and goes to check a village nearby. To their shock, the entire place is frozen and the people are dead. A recording of this finding is sent to US President Palma and his team, agreeing it must be kept secret for now. There's evidence this was caused by Dutch Boy, but the politicians don't want to shut it down because the press will immediately jump on it to find the cause. Max proposes to send someone to check on the malfunction, and Secretary of State Deckham tells him to hire Jake for the job because no matter how much Max dislikes his brother, Jake is still the one that knows the station the best. Meanwhile in the Dutch Boy, the satellite responsible for Afghanistan comes back to be checked on. Engineer Habib finds some strange date in its hard drive and decides to make a copy that he hides in his locker. Afterward he tries to go back to work, but when he steps into an empty room, suddenly the doors lock themselves around him and the windows break. Habib is expelled into space and dies instantly. The next day, Max visits Jake, who is living in Florida after his divorce, and gets his daughter Hannah 2 weekends a month. Jake doesn't want to see Max and tries to send him away, but Max tells him about Afghanistan and the airlock accident, asking him to rejoin the project. When Jake turns him down, Max changes his mind by pointing out that his invention is killing people. Later in the Hong Kong offices of the Pacific Climate Council, Long logs in the system and notices something weird about the incident in Afghanistan, so he tries to call Max to warn him only to be met by voicemail. Afterward he goes to the market to get some